In this video, I'm going to talk all about Wintermaw, the new Warhammer Underworlds set from Games Workshop. Well, here we are, folks. Welcome to the Esoteric Order of Gamers. We're checking out another Warhammer Underworlds set by Games Workshop. It seems like just yesterday we got a Warhammer Underworlds set. They're really churning them out. This one is set in the same kind of section of the Mortal Realms, the same area as the last set was set in. That is this frozen gorge where all these horrific things happen, and there are these giant worms. They've obviously been a bit influenced by Dune lately, except these are frozen worms. But let me tell you all about it. There's some weird stuff going on in this set. First of all, let's check out what you get. Now, you get two new war bands, of course, and they're really nice, quite atmospheric and interesting. Well, one of them is anyway, the other one not so much. Anyway, I'll show you in a moment. But inside the box, here it is. And in my enthusiasm there, I've just broken a little spiky bit off one of these. They're so fragile these days. Anyway, open up the box. Here it is. And we've got the book. Now this, as usual, of course, is just the usual set of rules for Warhammer Underworlds. If you don't know how to play yet, go and look at some of my older videos. But it's a great little fast-playing miniatures game with small little bands of miniatures, and it's card-based. You control everything with cards. Now, this one, of course, is set in this Death Gorge, which is this frozen gorge. And for some reason, people keep going into this place. Now, if I was sitting having a beer in the tavern in my local city in the Mortal Realms, and someone said, I tell you what, why don't we get a bunch of people together and go down into this huge frozen gorge where souls are trapped in the ice and mammoth rime worms charging through the ice and killing people. And, you know, if we're lucky, we'll get some nice magic items and things. I'd say, barkeep, get me another beer, will you? I'm going to be here for a while. I wouldn't do it. No, I'm sorry, I don't care what riches have been left behind by other stupid people who went into the Death Gorge and died. I mean, it's called the Death Gorge. Just don't go there. Anyway, people do persist in going there for some reason. This is the Death Gorge. There's a little twist in this one as well. We've got this horrific parasite thing too. It's a sap-like gelatinous parasite which can basically take you over. Now, some people, for some, again, bizarre reason, choose to be taken over by this parasitic sap stuff because it can make you really strong. It's probably going to kill you horribly, you know, in a very short space of time, but I don't know, for some reason people choose to do it. However, we have two new bands. One of them is the Skinnerkin, and they are basically your ghoul-like cannibals. And they are, of course, the Flesh Eater Courts band. Now, the Flesh Eater Courts are basically cannibals and ghouls who actually are labouring under the delusion that they're a luxurious court of wonderful lords and ladies going about their lords and ladies stuff. But they are, in fact, horrific cannibals and things, and they eat flesh. And yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on cannibal stuff. So we've got the Skinnerkin, and then we've got the Brethren of the Bolt, and this is a brand new bunch of people I've never heard of before. The Brethren of the Bolt are basically people who have been hit by lightning bolts and have had a religious transformation as a result. So what we have here is an excuse for some very gothic-looking human figures that I always really appreciate. I love the whole old-fashioned, well, to me it's a bit old-fashioned, this, in terms of the Warhammer world. It's like the old world. It's more gothic, more over-the-top and weird, and has that religious element as well, that medieval element. So I really appreciate this particular faction. Anyway, and then once we get onto this section, we're into all the rules and everything, which are pretty much repeated from early sets of Underworlds. Here are our painted up figures. You can see the Brethren of the Bolt there, looking really nice. And these are the Skinnerkin. But I'll show you those models in a second. One thing I appreciate about Warhammer Underworlds is I think it allows the miniature designers to do something a little bit different and go off in a different tack. So while the Skinnerkin are pretty much flesh-eating ghouls and nothing too special, I think these Brotherhood of the Bolt are just really tasty models. Anyway, I'll show you those soon. So we go through the rules. Here they all are. And of course, I've mentioned before, there's a very convoluted, overly written and designed rules because they have these advanced rules pullouts, which are really just part of the normal rules. It's all a bit confusing. Don't worry, there's a rules summary on the Esoteric Order of Gamers site, which can help you out. However, keep in mind that there has been a few extra rules in some of the earlier sets, and I may not have all of them in there. I'll have to update it. Anyway, we get 2 boards and some counters as well. I'll show you those in a moment. 2 boards with this wintry Death Gorge theme. Great art as usual, really good for playing this game on. They're always good, these boards, and they're good quality. They're nice and thick and colourful. Well, not so colourful, that one. It's all very blue and white, isn't it? I don't know how many sets they're going to do in this Death Gorge. To me, it's got a kind of a limited lifespan when it comes to sort of setting it as a theme. They've added this parasite thing, but really, and also there's rime worm, which are the horrible frozen worms that are giant worms that are going around. They have hatcheries. There's some nice things happening, but I just feel it's a little bit limited as a theme, but I don't know. So I've got some dice. I do like all these different colours. They do have, sorry about that. We've got some purple and blue dice. Really, really nice. And these nice grey ones as well. I just like these colours. Lovely choices. Now, the cards themselves come in this little box, which, as you can see, got really hacked up for some reason. I think it was right underneath the miniature sprues and shifted around and got hacked up. So I don't know if you'd be using this for storage, but I wouldn't count on it because, as you can see, it can get a bit damaged. But inside, you've got your 4 decks. And of course, what they do now is they have rivals decks for both of the warbands, and they are pre-made decks, so you can go straight into the game, which is something I really appreciate, because when the first Underworld set came out, you really had to sit down and do a bit of, well, there was a starter set, but you couldn't really have a decent game until you'd done a bit of deck building. And I don't really have time to sit there and deck build all this kind of stuff. So I want to pick up a deck and play. However, for those of you who do like deck building, there's an extra set called the Hungering Parasite, which I'm just taking a stab in the dark here is going to feature the Parasite. And then we've got Rime Worm's Bite, which probably, I don't know, I could be wrong, features the Rime Worms. So you've got your 2 rivals to decks to start with, and then your extra decks. So you can do deck building and come up with your own distinctive decks for your forces. That's all you get in the box. Oh, hold on. And of course, you get a couple of nice counter sheets as well. If you've got several Underworld sets, you might have a gazillion of these glory point counters and all the rest of it, so you won't need those. But we do have nicely Death Gorge themed terrain hex pieces here, so they're always good. Okay, the miniatures, I hear you ask. Yes, well, these are nice. Let's show you the Skinnerkin ones first, because I don't think they're quite as exciting, in my opinion. But anyway, we'll see. Now, the leader of the band is Gristler Tenderhook, with an E on the end, of course. And here she is. Charming looking thing with sort of hooks roped to her back so she can carry the corpses of the things that she captures. And of course, she's got a fork for a hand. It's pretty handy when you're a cannibal. But yeah, it's a nice figure. I think that one's got a lot of character. I do like that. This one's Young Master Ketch. And this is where we sort of, get into your standard ghoulish cannibal figures. They're nice. Nice big axe, which is good. I had to stick that on because that fell off when I was taking it off the sprue. So be careful when you're taking that off the sprue. This one is Flynn's Master Pudrig. And, a lot of dynamism there. I like him. He's got a couple of swords. Looks pretty cool. Next one is Cedric of the Chain. I think I've been a bit hard on these models. They are really nice. I just think the other warband has just got a little bit more personality. So this is suffering a bit in comparison. And finally, the Karnskier, this flying monster vampire thing. Now, be very careful with this model because it's got lots of fragile bits. These little spiky bits here break off super easily. I've already had several of them break off and I've had to glue them back on. And I've broken another one off while I've been filming this. So be careful, very fragile, and these can catch on things quite easily. Now I've got the Brotherhood of the Bolt. This is Soror Tazat. Now, all of these people have been hit by lightning bolts and gone completely nutter. But then again, you know, religious transformation by lightning bolt, that's as good as any other. Really nice figure. And this is where we get into this lovely gothic stuff. Here's Friar Galvik, and he is a great looking warrior. He's just got this huge mace thing. There's some nice chains there. I'm really looking forward to painting these ones. This has got a lot of character. Scorched Jacob. Absolutely insane, as you can see. We've got a real Monty Python feel as well too, which I love. Acolyte Arcus, just a young guy hit by lightning. And then finally, my absolute favourite of the bunch, Pater Filius. This is actually two guys. There's one guy sitting on the shoulders of his brother, and they're sort of wrapped in bandages because they got so burnt from being hit by lightning. Just what a great figure. A guy standing on the shoulders of his brother. How sweet. So there you go, a quick look at Wintermaw. And I know, look, I haven't got into all the cards, and the reason is because I'm not a big deck builder and frequent player of Warhammer Underworlds. This is the kind of game that I bring out occasionally if I want a short game with that Warhammer feel, but without going into anything too heavily. And I usually just use the Rivals decks as is, so I don't spend a lot of time poring over the cards and seeing all the special abilities and working out the best combos and deck building and all that stuff. I just slap it out and play it and enjoy it, and usually learn as I go what these different characters can do. And that's probably not the best way to play, because again, it can be quite tactical and strategic, even though there's a big luck element with the cards. But if you get to know all your characters, of course, you're going to play them a lot better. So as always, it's up to you how much time and investment you want to put into these games and how much you want to get to know those characters and really discover the strategies and combos and all that kind of thing. For me, it's just a fun game with some great figures, and I particularly, as I said, love the Brethren of the Bolt, which has that crazy gothic Monty Python feel with a bit of humour that I miss from Games Workshop these days. It doesn't come out quite as much, but I think the figure designers are still churning out stuff like that and going, oh, let's do this crazy thing, and then later on they come up with rules for it. I'm assuming that's how it works anyway. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, good gaming. Bye for now.